What's up, Crossfire, and anybody watching this video? We're so glad. We're so glad you're hanging with us. Hey, we're gonna take the next few minutes. I am shouting you out live from Muscatine, Iowa, with my good buddy Greg Bock. He is a lieutenant here in Muscatine.
Sounds so weird, doesn't it?
It does. Lieutenant Bock. That's
Lieutenant Brock.
Lieutenant Brock, right? yeah. That's a little inside thing. Some people getting his name wrong, but that's all right. It's Lieutenant Bock. No R, just right. Bock. Yeah. Lieutenant Bock, he's a good friend of mine and lifelong friend, really. And so we're going to take the next few minutes and just let you know what we're doing here in Muscatine. We're so excited. We're sitting right here on the Mississippi River. I'm going to flip the phone around. You'll see the mighty Mississippi. Here it is. Check this out. Woo, woo. Look at those clouds. Tugboat rolling through right now. Yeah. So this is the riverfront in Muscatine.
That's going south.
This is going south now.
Yep.
And tell us, what's that? What are we looking at right there?
You're looking at the Grain Processing Center. It's part of Kent Corporation, and Kent Corporation is a worldwide leader in farm feed, like livestock feed.
All right, so there at that factory, they make livestock feed.
They make feed, they make alcohol products, they make different, like anything you can use a grain for, they make.
Okay, so I gotta be honest with you, every single day that we drive into town past that factory,
do you gag?
It's a different smell. Every day, it's a different smell. So we have like a running list of things that it smells like.
Fish sticks.
We've got fish sticks. We've got corned beef hash as one of them. Corned beef hash. Okay. Yeah. Popcorn. Cat food.
Dookie.
Well, I don't know about that. Can we say that live? I don't know if we can say that. So anyway, that depending on the way the wind's blowing, that factory puts off some pretty interesting aromas.
But you know what? For folks in Muscatine, it smells like money.
It is. It does. It's part of the culture here on the riverfront, and so we're excited. How you doing? So we're excited to be here. We're excited to be serving, and we just want to tell you a little bit, about the Salvation Army, about the work here in Muscatine, and then we're going to actually loop around, and we're going to go back to the facility that we're kind of basing all of our ministry out of, and you'll get to kind of see behind the scenes through closed doors of where some of the food distribution things happen, and so this would be a pretty cool walk. We got actually VBS is happening right now as we speak. So
28 kids in the building right now.
Yeah, VBS. Sweet. So we're gonna, when we loop back, you'll get to see some of our students and team just kind of working different different sections of the VBS. So anyway, so let's walk for a second. We can just chat for a minute. So I'm sure there's many people thinking to themselves, like, Salvation Army, I know what that is. Every Christmas I show up at Walmart and ring a bell, and drum up support funds for the Salvation Army. And probably like myself, that is the extent of what they knew about the Salvation Army.
Or they go to Tawas, right? And go to shop at the thrift store.
Right, shop at the thrift store in Tawas. Yeah, and so for me, for a long time, that was the Salvation Army just raised money for the money for the needy. Yeah. But it's a lot more than that.
A lot.
So, so let's talk about it a little bit.
I'll give you. We've been in Muscatine. The Army's been in Muscatine for 128 years, so it has a long history. Wow. Overall, the Army's 150 years old. We're in 134 countries across the world.
Okay, so 150 years old. Muscatine's been 100. What'd you say?
Over 150 years old, and it's been here for 128 years.
So Muscatine is really kind of one of the founding
probably
places.
In this area. They launched in New York City, on the East Coast. I think it was in New York City, and they just moved west.
Okay.
So this for 1892, I think, is when they started in Muscatine. And
1892.
It launched in 1865, the year the Civil War ended.
Okay.
In England, William Booth started the Salvation Army.
So what's the purpose of the Salvation Army? William Booth started
so
for what purpose?
He noticed that there was a lot of people in town in the slums of the East End of London who just didn't fit. They didn't belong. They were people who were drug addicts, they were prostitutes, they were drunkards, they were people that just didn't fit in to the regular Church of England at that time.
Okay.
He was a Methodist minister, and the Methodist connection did not like what he was doing. They didn't like that he was going out and getting people out of the slums of in the ditch of the East End of London in England.
Okay.
There. And they kicked him out.
Really?
They kicked him out, yeah.
Wow.
And so he did.
For kind of doing what we would probably say is the work of Christ.
Right, exactly. Well, back then they wanted to charge folks to keep the kind of those those kind of people, you know,
Okay.
to keep them out of the church. And churches in England charged a pew tax, so you had to
Really?
pay a pew tax to come in, knowing those folks couldn't afford a pew tax.
Oh.
So they kind of stopped, and they
Hey, there's a bench here. Let's sit down for a second. Yeah.
William Booth. Oh, there's a duck.
Oh, look, there's a duck down there. Hey,
William,
ducky.
William Booth saw that was the need, and he fat.
I don't know what you're talking about. Come on now.
William Booth saw that need, and he and his wife Catherine, they launched what was first known as the Christian Mission.
Okay.
And it was he, his wife Catherine, and I think his son Bramwell, maybe their chief of the staff at the time. They were trying to figure out how they were going to move this mission along. And I think it was I swear I might be wrong, but I think it was Bramwell. It was they kind of phrase it from the Christian mission to the volunteer army, because there's a lot of people wanting to help out. And so they drew a shield, and they wrote the term the volunteer army in the shield.
Okay.
And Bramwell crossed out. He said, "I'm not a volunteer for God. I'm a soldier for God and nothing else."
Okay.
He said, "I'm doing this for the salvation of the world."
Wow.
So that went from the volunteer army to the Salvation
To the Salvation Army.
Yeah. So that's kind of how that kind of came about.
Sure.
Then from there, they were known, and like the Salvation Army was like a social justice movement. So back in England, they were like the legal age that you could sell yourself on the street was 16 years old.
Wow.
So William Booth and Bramwell Booth and his wife Catherine and other people that were friends of the army in England, they were very instrumental in getting that age. Like, they didn't want kids to be sold into sex trafficking.
Yeah, get them off the street.
Yeah, so they got them off the street, and they made homes for these people to live in. And
So that's good. So hold up. So pause for a second, because what you just said about sex trafficking, that's like a big sort of
even today,
cultural movement, though, of, you know, in the church and stuff, is, you know, ending sex trafficking. So really, the Salvation Army, kind of their pioneering work was to put an end to sex trafficking, human trafficking, things like that.
human trafficking, and they actually, the government thought it wasn't a problem, and so William Booth and Bramwell Booth actually, and this guy that really he owned a newspaper in London. They wanted to show the government how easy it was, and they actually bought one of the girls from the street.
Oh, wow.
And they took her to a doctor, and the doctor examined her, and the doctor found that she had not been tampered with or messed with, or she didn't have any relations with anybody. And they took her from the doctor straight to the home. And they took her, I think they contacted the police and said, "Hey, listen, we just bought probably even younger than that, girl from the street. It's very easy for these people to get a hold of kids and do this."
Wow.
They actually threw them in jail for it.
Wow.
But it was through that interaction, it was all verified that they know the girl wasn't messed with. They just wanted to show the government how easy it was for them to buy humans off the street. Right. And they were thrown in jail for that. Wow. But from that interaction, the government bumped that age to 18, and then, you know, I don't know what age after that, but the Army was very instrumental in doing that. Yeah. Another thing they were instrumental with is, for those who like history,
it's getting windy in this spot.
They the match factories were a big thing in England, right? Yep. And the big employer. But the conditions were so bad, the workers was known as flossy jaw, and the sulfur would eat, or something would eat the skin and the bone and just rot the workers' jaws off. Yeah. Oh. So William Booth was always innovative. He was very creative.
So then again, William
Booth, your field man, you know.
Sure. And so William Booth, again, the founder of the Salvation Army.
Yep.
Okay.
Always looking, how can we meet the need? When there's an opportunity, how can we meet the need?
Yep.
And he actually created this new match that didn't use all this stuff that caused flossy jaw, people's bones to rot, their face to rot away. If you Google flossy jaw, you can read the history of it, and you'll see pictures of people with like half their mouth missing. Goodness. You know. So they've always been on the forefront of doing something new and bettering humanity.
Wow, crazy. All right, so let's keep walking, because it's kind of windy, and I'm hoping that everybody's gonna be able to hear all this, not just the wind. So let's maybe head back this way, get the wind to our back. And so Salvation Army started in London, right? William Booth.
East London.
Started as an anti-human trafficking sort of organization.
They were really
pioneering works.
They were pulling folks off the street. In fact, here you go. Here's another thing for you. So there's a term they use in AA called, or just life called, and you fell off the wagon.
Yeah.
That's because the Salvation Army officers would go through the east end of London in the slums, and they'd pick up drunkards off the street. They put them on a wagon and get them to a safe house, or get them to a clean, sober living house. Okay. And so they would sometimes stumble off the wagon and fall off the wagon. So when somebody actually relapsed or started drinking again, they would come, "I mean, you fell off the wagon." Yeah. But it was because that terminology came from the officers who would use an actual wagon, going through the streets and picking up drunkards, prostitutes,
Sure.
People on drugs, that kind of thing. But yeah, it was the social justice movement of bettering people's lives was how the Salvation Army really came about.
So, and it's obviously that mission has continued. It's evolved over the years. It's obviously come to America as well. And so maybe tell us a little bit about the correlation between that and like maybe the ARC.
Yeah. So the Salvation Army, East End of London, picking up people off the street, drug addicts, drunkards, prostitutes, that kind of thing, unwed mothers, small kids. The ministry to people with addictions and afflictions has always been the heart of the Salvation Army, because it's the heart of Christ. We all have an affliction, right?
Sure.
We all have a sin affliction. We all have something that's
totally,
so that's always been the heart of the Army. So today, one of the biggest ministries the Salvation Army has is to people with addictions and afflictions.
Okay.
So they have adult rehabilitation centers.
Okay.
And those are completely free rehab.
Okay.
For anybody who needs to recover from that.
Now, how does that rehab get funded then? If it's free to the people who need it, it's got to, finance has got to come from somewhere.
So anytime you go to a thrift store, it's in 60 miles of an adult rehab center or a Harbor Light or something like that. Well, Harbor Light is a more medical facility for Salvation Army that does the same kind of thing. Whatever you buy at a family store within 60 miles of that ARC or the Harbor Light goes to support the mission. Wow. And it's funded by corporations in town.
Sure.
Walmart is one of our biggest corporate sponsors of Salvation Army.
Wow, that's awesome.
Walmart supports it, and other just nice funders that love the mission of the Army.
Yeah, that's crazy. So let's talk for just a second about like when they drop $1 in the bucket, during bell ringing season. Yeah. Where's that go? Let's talk about that for a second, and then let's draw some correlation between, the humanitarian aid, programs, and what the Salvation Army does for people's spiritual life, right? Yeah. So let's talk about that for just a second. And
so kettle season has been going for over like 130 years now. So it was one of those kind of, new things. Somebody in Times Square, New York, they wanted to feed people in Times Square Thanksgiving dinner, Christmas dinner. Okay. And so to raise money for that, this fisherman plopped down a kettle maybe it was an officer, plopped down the kettle at the fishing docks for fishermen coming off the boats. Okay. Or for ships coming in to port, and people would drop money in the kettle. Wow. Well, then people realized, oh man, we can make money, we can earn money like this. So they put an officer there, and they evolved into people ringing the bell for Salvation Army. Lucille Ball rang the bell for Salvation Army. There's a picture of George and Barbara Bush ringing bells for Salvation Army. There's
it's become a very popular thing
worldwide. Yeah. But the U.S. is the largest funder of Salvation Army programs worldwide. Okay. So the Army isn't huge in the core side of things, the church side of things in the Army, but social services is huge. And the U.S. is the largest funder of the Army programs in those 134 countries that we're in.
So what are you able to do with those funds then? Yeah. I mean, that's part of your annual budget, I would assume.
It is,
as they come in. So what are you able to do with those kinds of funds?
So with those kind of funds, we're able to do programs like, we can't do it this year, but our day camp program.
Okay, yeah, COVID kind of messed that up a little bit.
COVID messed it up, yep. That's done by the kettle season. Things like our food pantry. We have food pantry 3 times a week.
Which we're going to see here in just a minute. We're almost back to the facility, actually.
The COVID response for our food pantry was pretty large this year for this pandemic. We do things like meeting people's needs through like utility assistance. Okay. So, interesting fact, when I was in northern Michigan at Sheboygan, we would get like $150,000 a year to spend on utilities, and we got it from like the Utility Commission. Okay. In Muscatine, Iowa, we don't get any money to help with utilities. It's all what comes in through kettle season, campaign.
Crazy.
So it differs throughout the country, but one of the largest funding sources of being able to help with assistance dollars comes from the kettle season, because the kettle campaign is the largest funding source of the funder of the Army programs for the U.S.
Okay. Wow.
It's kettle season. And also the Dallas Cowboys.
Jerry Jones. Okay.
Jerry Jones he's like the best friend of the Salvation Army is Jerry Jones. Okay. Every Thanksgiving, when you watch the Thanksgiving football game between the Cowboys and whoever they're playing that year, you will always find the Salvation Army official kickoff to the kettle season during the halftime show.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. Ezekiel Elliott, when he jumped in the kettle a few years ago, his number was 21, right? Yep. They said the amount of money that came in $21 increments was like in the hundreds of thousands of dollars within minutes of jumping in the kettle.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. Cool. So yeah, we're talking major community outreach. Let's talk a little bit about how we connect the outreach to the community to the heart of God, to the gospel message, right?
One of the ways
Oh yeah,
right
let's check this out. Matter of fact, let me just flip the camera around. This will be better. There we go. Ooh, look at that. So I don't know if you can see there. It's a big truck. I got to back way up. So what are we looking at here? The canteen.
This is for our emergency disaster services, the Salvation Army. You'll find in most locations, if not the very location that the Army is in, if not the very location, the location around it, the local Army will have a canteen. And this thing responds to floods, tornadoes, house fires. In northern Michigan, when I was in Sheboygan, we did a lot of response to kids who were lost in the woods, like at Aloha and different places around northern Michigan. This thing responded to every, here we go. We were the first on the ground in 9/11. We were one of the last to leave at 9/11. We served the entire time at ground zero with canteens. So you'll find these things all around the country, and you'll find a whole team of people that are willing to just drop what they're doing when called and respond. The COVID response, a lot of these things went out to neighborhoods all across the country and handed out food, bottled water. They gave first responders, meals. The uprising in Minneapolis, Atlanta, you'll find Salvation Army feeding not only first responders for that, but also people who are really protesting the racial brutality that they experience. So the Salvation Army is not just, we're not picking sides, we're not trying to do one or the other. We're trying to just make sure people are fed and well cared for.
That's awesome. So we're actually going to get some use out of this canteen this week. Yeah, tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So we're going to be driving out into a spot in the central location in the community. And
handing out food boxes.
Handing out food boxes.
And hygiene kits and that kind of stuff.
Okay, awesome. So let's maybe make our way inside. We're coming across the parking lot right now, so let's make our way inside and talk a little bit about the facility. And you've got just an amazing food program here in the community. Talk about how that looked during COVID, because I know it really drastically changed.
Yeah.
I know you had a lot of community partnership with other agencies and things like that.
We did.
Talk about some of the good that came out of that.
So in the height of the COVID response, Salvation Army, our building here, was the hub of the food response for Muscatine County. Wow. In the height of our response, we were feeding about 1,300 people a week.
Wow.
Through hot meal program deliveries, through grocery deliveries, through a mobile food pantry. Other agencies in town also had food pantries. They were feeding people out of them, but we would have all the food delivered to this building here. Okay. And agencies would come pick it up and take it to their agencies and feed out of that to their local, people around their buildings.
Sure. So hold on, pause, because you said something a minute ago, or actually I think it was actually yesterday, not a minute ago. Yesterday we were talking about, there's a lot of other agencies in the community serving people, but you're kind of uniquely positioned here in your actual geographic location in the city. Talk about that for a second.
Yeah. So this location in Muscatine is on what's considered the other side of the tracks, right? So we've been told a lot by a lot of people, you should look at moving your location into the downtown area where there's other agencies. You can partner better, you can do whatever you need to do. We're actually where we need to be. We're perfectly where we need to be. The south end of Muscatine, if Jesus were to walk through here and say where we should be, he'd pick the south end, because this is where the need really is. Yeah. There's a lot of low income down here. There's drugs down here. There's gangs, Latin Kings. There's the GDK down here. We're where we need to be on the south end of town. We're the only agency on the south end of town.
The only agency. That's
the only one down here meeting these needs. That's not saying that the other folks don't come down and help out, because they do.
Great partnership.
But as far as a location, a building, an actual physical facility, we're the only one on the south end of town. And the cool thing about this is the banks moved out long ago. And they kept getting robbed. The grocery stores moved out long ago. There's no access to fresh fruit. There's no access to a grocery store in the south end of town. Yeah. You have to drive downtown. So a lot of folks don't have transportation. Yeah. They can't afford gas in their car if they do have transportation. So we're able to really be the hands and feet and the heart of God to these people on the city of town by handing them out, fresh produce we get from Riverbend Food Bank in Davenport, and handing out grocery bags and bottled water and really just the love of God.
Yeah, and to me, it really sounds like it reflects the heart of even William Booth establishing the Salvation Army in London.
Yeah.
He was where he needed to be, even when people said, "No, you need to be reaching these people."
And here's another interesting part about
so cool.
about William Booth. What really just kind of drives me to keep going. In the early days of the Army, right, when they would march through the streets, now they'd go to one town, okay, and they get folks from the ditch, they clean them up, they get them saved, get them good with Christ, and help them, disciple them along. Then they go to the next town, right? So you have this following, okay? And so they parade through the town, and some would play instruments. They would beat the drum of salvation, the big drum they'd have, boom, boom, walking through town. They'd sing songs of salvation. They play their instruments, their trumpets and the brass band stuff. Walking through town, they'd get eggs thrown at them. They'd get bricks thrown at them. They'd get dead animals, dead cats thrown at them.
Yeah.
And can you imagine if William Booth said, you know what, man, this is too violent. We have to stop doing this.
Yeah.
What if someone gets hurt? And then the fact is people got killed. Salvationists got killed for wanting to help people.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, is that you may have known the guy from the town over that was now walking through your street, and you could say, I know that guy.
Yeah.
Last week he was robbing my house, and last week he was doing this and doing that, so I'm shooting up behind the local whatever last week.
Yeah.
And then the next week he's walking through your town singing a song of salvation.
Wow. Yeah.
And people wanted to hold that lifestyle over them.
Yeah.
Like there was no repentance. Like there was no way to change their life around.
Yeah.
The Army is that place for a lot of people.
Wow.
And a lot of communities all across the world. They want to clean their life up, right? And they work very hard at doing so.
Yeah.
And sometimes their family doesn't like it, their friends don't like it, and where do they turn?
Yeah.
They get kicked out of their homes for what they've done in the past, and they want to clean up, and they just don't have that trust built. So where do they turn? When they see that shield, man, they see a shield of hope.
That's awesome.
They see a shield of acceptance, of compassion, of love of God. And so they walk right in to people who are like, how can we help you?
Yeah.
How can we love you today?
That's so good.
Yeah.
Well, let's walk in and let's do it, you know?
Well, hold up. You got to show this now.
Okay, let's look at this. This is crazy. Check this out. I got to back up again. It's so big.
This is my home away from home, man.
This is a giant kettle. Look at that sucker.
It is the twin kettle to Petoskey, Michigan's kettle.
Woo!
It's the twin.
So what does this giant thing get used for? It's a monstrosity.
Pounds. This was built in 8 weeks by Hoffman Incorporated in Muscatine, Iowa. They built silos. They also have fabrication in their shop. And helped us raise $192,000.
Wow.
A little over a month for Salvation Army to run our programs here.
Wow. And so, I mean, what did people just throw money up into it, or what happened?
They're supposed to be online with the sheriff's department throwing quarters at me in it.
Wait, quarters at you? You were in it?
I lived in it for 7 days, the week before Christmas.
Wait, you lived in this thing for a week?
Outside my local Hy-Vee grocery store.
In the middle of winter?
In the middle of winter, from December December 18th to like 24th.
Wow.
I slept in it every single night, man. We raised $192,000.
Wow, that is incredible.
Yeah, but we went national news, we went worldwide, and we could just tell folks that, why we exist. Our message is based on the Bible, our ministry is motivated by the love of God, and our mission is to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ and meet communities in His name without discrimination.
That's so good. That's so good. I love it, man. Let's go in. Let's go in and see what's happening inside. This is so cool. I'm so excited to be walking this with you, man. It's so cool. We're so happy to be here. Hey, we got some VBS kids out here. Let's see this. Hold up. Let's see this. What's up?
Crossfire.
Yo, that's what's up. There's our peeps. What up? What up? Come in here. Ooh, we got a game going on. Oh, VBS. What's up, Isabella? How are you? What's the best part of the trip so far?
I love working with the children and VBS.
Totally. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. We got Izzy over here. What's up, Iz? Hey, shout some peeps out. Who needs to join us this next trip? Who do you think?
Probably a few of the youth group kids out here.
Yeah, what friends would you love to see here with you next time?
Honestly, my brother Jamin. I mean, he's fun. I want him out here.
Yeah, what are you loving so much about this trip?
It's just the experience. It's so much fun seeing all these new kids. They're all so awesome, and just all the fun activities that we're doing.
That's what I'm talking about.
Much fun, yeah.
Yeah, we're so glad you're with us.
Yeah,
Come on,
me too.
give me some. Yeah. Whoop, whoop. Monica! What's up? Yo, Monica, how's it going? Good. Hey, are you enjoying your time here so far? Yeah, what's the best part? Doing dances. You have been dancing like a maniac this week. It's so awesome doing praise and worship songs with the kids and stuff like that. You really come out of your shell. We're so glad you're with us this week. What's the best part? What do you think? I mean, what are you most looking forward to, I guess, in the rest of this week? What do you think? Just, yeah, for sure. That's awesome. That's so sweet. All right, we're gonna keep moving. So good. Yeah, let's keep moving. Let's go.
Down here.
Yeah, let's come down here. Let's do it. We're gonna go.
This right here is where the mobile pantry happens. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 1 to 3. We don't require anything. If you're hungry, come here, man. We'll get you groceries. We'll get you fed. We'll get you, set up.
Sweet.
With nutrition, with hydration, with relationship, with compassion.
Yeah.
So
we're
do not come here knocking off your furniture.
No furniture. We say this because this happened today. Right in front of this sign.
In front of me, the officer.
Yo, we were getting ready to leave to go do some ministry today out in the community. We were gonna go work at a senior living home, and this guy shows up right in front of this door and drops off a whole kitchen table, a recliner, some end tables,
and a purse.
And a purse. Yeah,
and some shoes.
It was crazy. But hey, of course we received it. And,
we did.
Yeah,
he was happy, and
So, hey.
So listen, this food right here, these breads and sweets, this comes from the local Hy-Vee store. So Hy-Vee is part of the Feeding America Network, which does the food rescue. And so all across the country, there are grocery stores, there are restaurants, there are gas stations, there are mini marts that recognize the fact that their product sometimes doesn't sell by the expiration date. So a few days before, they pull it off, and they contact the local Feeding America representative, and they get with folks like us who take the stuff from them and get it out to folks who need it. So this goes out in our food pantry. Before, pre-COVID, it was all set up in the front of our building where folks could come in and they could take, a few breads, a few sweets, and but this all goes out to them. One of the first things folks ask for in food pantries is bread and cereal. And so we definitely have a lot of bread to give out. So it's a good partnership with Hy-Vee and local stores getting the stuff out.
So
it doesn't
cool.
go to waste.
Yeah, and we got to actually do a show at Hy-Vee earlier this week, and I'm amazed at the partnership that you've been able to create with the different agencies and grocery stores and things like that in this community. It's just incredible to see the network. So I know we're kind of coming in the back door, so let's see what's shaking back here.
All right, so we're about to enter into what was like the hub of our food response for COVID-19. It looks a little different now because we got some things moved around.
So this is like a whole gymnasium.
Yes. In the height of COVID response, so over here where the X on the wall is, there was pallets of food. And a great employee from the Muscatine Center for Social Action, which is the biggest agency in town, they have a food pantry as well. And she came down with her crew, her volunteer, let me take my hat off. Her volunteer base, ooh, my hair, y'all, my bad. She came down her volunteer base. Right, you know what I'm saying? Let's get and they would pack like 160 bags every other day to get ready for the next response.
Wow.
The next delivery of groceries, the next food pantry day.
Daily,
Yeah.
just man.
So we were spending
nonstop.
thousands of dollars a week almost between the two of us on food response. I think they said it was like $12,000 a month we were spending on food.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow. Can you
Getting
believe
folks
that?
fed.
12,000.
Yeah. And really, it wasn't like we were feeding just any and everybody. We wanted to make sure it was people that really needed it. So if you were 60 or 65 and older, you automatically qualified to have a hot meal delivered to your house Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and have a grocery bag on Thursdays delivered to you.
Yeah.
If you had a underlying condition that made you vulnerable to COVID-19, you were eligible.
Wow.
We want folks to stay home and stay safe.
That's so good. So this was really, I mean, you had the food, the food pantry, which we'll look at here, but this really it took over the whole building. I know when we got here, all this food that you're seeing, plus stuff that you're going to see in a second, was spilled all the way out into the next room, stacked high on pallets.
It's a double room. It's a dining hall and a chapel. It was stacked. Yeah.
And it took over when COVID took over, emergency relief, and so now one of the things that we've been able to kind of help you do this week is get reset for long-term sustainability and
like these boxes right
continuing.
Here. Faith Alive team, the Faith Alive Impact teams, I've been calling you guys all week on Facebook, Faith Alive Impact team. They packed some of these food boxes. We'll have more packed tomorrow, but these will go out to people in need in Muscatine, and be handed out by your guys, by
Yeah.
Faith Alive,
Yeah, we're
Crossfire students.
it's gonna be fun. We're excited to do that. So let's walk back to this this massive pantry. I've never seen a pantry quite like this pantry.
huge.
It's impressive to say the least. It is incredible.
So I'll tell you, this goes all the way around, so it kind of circles around. It's floor to ceiling, wooden shelves of just food. So normally these would be stacked from the bottom to the top with canned goods, with vegetables, with canned fruit, with popcorn, with chips, with crackers, with boxed meals, with flour, with cereal, with pancake mix, with sugar, with spices, with whatever you think of you can find in your pantry. We had it in this pantry at Salvation Army. And there was 2 weeks of love was put on in around December by a local car company and a transportation company. In fact, this Tanterra Transportation, which also transports the Iowa Hawkeyes, all their athletic equipment around the country. Anyway, I digress from that. They set this huge trailer up outside of the grocery store, and people literally stock our pantry for 6 months worth of food in that 2-week time period, right? Well, we had it stocked this last Christmas, and it was floor to ceiling. And within, I would say, 2-3 weeks, these shelves were just about completely bare. That's how quick the food went. Now, was some of it panic? Might have been. Well, some of it, people that just weren't quite sure or, wanted to stock up because they didn't know if they'd be able to keep their job and keep food on their table? Could have been. Is it my job to really judge that when somebody comes and says that they're in need? It's not. It's not. It's my job to just love them as Christ would love them and to just give them what they need, So this was stacked floor to ceiling, and we had a food drive in May. They got over 8 tons of bags of food that were sold by Fairway. And this is the cool thing about this is this grocery bag here is from Fairway grocery stores. So think Family Fare, okay? Same kind of store, Fairway. And this is what it has in it. It has Fairway cereal, skillet meal, spaghetti sauce, peanut butter, vegetables, noodles, potatoes, and saltines. $20 worth of food in this bag. Same thing with Hy-Vee. Hy-Vee did the same thing. In fact, you can see it says right there, $20. Okay? So Jeff, when you go to the grocery store to shop for your family, you're going to spend $100 or more on food, right? If not 150, close to $200 for your week or 2 weeks of food with your size of the family. Can you imagine going in, spending $150 and having the cashier say, "Hey, do you want to donate $20, a $20 bag to the Salvation Army to feed people for COVID?" Over 8 tons of these bags came in for COVID response. That's how giving the community was back to our agencies that were feeding for food response.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So I know one of the things that we had a chance to do when we first got here, we said that food was, this food was going all the way out through the whole building. One of our very first projects when we got here was actually to restock all of these shelves.
Well,
these shelves, except for this corner right here. Every single one of these shelves was bare when we got here. I mean, all the way up to the top. That's all the way up there into the ductwork. These shelves were totally bare. And so one of our very first projects when we got here was to get all the food out from the open floor and back into this pantry so that Greg can transition back into a sustainable distribution program. So, man, that was a heck of a project.
Within 2 hours, you guys had it knocked out.
We had it knocked out. Many hands make light work, but
team. And that was, I'll tell you, that was one of the things that,
So, yeah.
as the officer here, 12 weeks of COVID response, right?
Yeah.
And my wife had to be one with the kids. I have 3 kids, and then she had surgery towards the end there. So for probably 10 of the 12 weeks, I was doing this by myself. And at the end of this, we stopped the feeding programs last week, where they were all in the building here. A lot of food still left. That chapel was, in the dining hall was full of food. And so I would just come every day and just look at it and go, "Oh my gosh, that's a lot of food to move by myself in our little small group that we have down here volunteering." So the fact that you guys came and you moved it out so quickly, I mean, I'll tell you, just put the For real, like I'm honest to God serious. It put the wind back in my sails to know that was done. Because one of the things my church has been asking for the most is, man, can we have services again? I couldn't justify stopping the whole food response for 1 week, for one time a week for services. But they'd come in and they'd look at it and go, Lieutenant, when are we gonna have our chapel back? When are we gonna focus on just like Salvation Army again? Like they kind of felt left out, which I understand. So to have that cleared out so quickly, and to have it, and then that night, it wasn't just it cleared out and it sat. It was cleared out, and then that night, there were kids in the building, and ministry was happening again. Not that food response wasn't ministry, because it was. But the fact that this was being used by kids. And we used to have a day camp, all like every day of the summer. You know, it was a very high moment for me, you know, as the officer here during this COVID response. Having you guys come was something I looked forward to for months, because it was just like
us too, man.
12 weeks of, oh my goodness, you know, I love what I do, but it just kind of got like, it just kept going on and on and on. So to have you guys come was a big jump, big boost for me, but then to have that cleared out so quickly, so we could go back to being the core community center. Meant a lot for not only me, but my core people as well.
Man, that's such an honor too.
Your students did that. Like you guys did that.
They've been awesome on this trip for sure. Speaking of, let's see if we can maybe wrangle up a few more of them and see what we can get their take on some things. So, yeah, we'll walk out of here and we're gonna head out of. So we're gonna head out of the back room. We sorted like hundreds of toys just the other day. I mean, this is just like stacks of Barbies and Hot Wheel stuff, action figures, everything ranging from like toddlers to like middle school kids, like just amazing. These are all toys that have been donated to the Salvation Army for various programs and things like that to give out and bless kids in the community. So that was a fun project, sorting out all these toys. So let's.
So
go ahead.
Those pallets here represent pallets of food that were. When you guys came in, there was only like 2 or 3 pallets on the ground. Like your team literally moved that many pallets of food from that room into this room. In like 2-3 hours. It was amazing.
It was awesome. The students were just incredible. So So here we go. So coming into like the dining hall area.
Oh, there's 2 of each members.
There's 2 of them there. Looks like we got maybe like some Bible story time happening here at VBS right now. Don't really want to disrupt that.
You guys know you all just pray.
Let's see.
If you've never prayed before, you just pray. That's how easy it is. You can talk to God.
Yo, that's what's up. We're teaching kids how to pray right now. So cool. VBS. Let's go see if we can find another small group. Oh, hi. Hello again. What's up? How's it going?
Hello, my friend.
Oh, so this is like kind of the lobby area. Yeah.
Here we go, right here.
Okay,
Here's the side of this whole COVID response. Helping many one by one.
Love it. Love it. That's so good. That's so good. So good.
That's vintage for you.
Let's head out the main door, see if we can find another crew hanging out. Oh, here we go. Hi, Stephanie. Looks like we got some crafts going right now. Oh, look at that. A foil cross. Ooh, snap. What's up, boyos? How's it going?
What's up, guys?
Say hi to the peeps back home.
Hey, guys.
Who you want to shout out? Tell me somebody. Who should be here with you next time we come? What do you think?
Everyone.
Who's missing out? Everyone, right? Everyone. Yeah. We need to take like 6 vanfuls. Who needs to come? All right, Neva. So hey, tell me, like, what has been the most impactful experience of this trip so far, Ian?
Oh, really? I did not know that.
I'd say the interaction with the kids.
Just loving the VBS and hanging with kids and stuff. Yeah, for sure. Trent, what about you? Trent, what's been the most impactful thing this week for you so far?
They light up when they see what you're doing and helping them out.
Oh, these kids are amazing. These kids are incredible.
I like your stick, Lynn.
That's what's up. Hey! Cool. Well, let's maybe walk out this way where it's a little quieter. We can
Yeah.
wrap it up, huh?
Here, I'll go. We'll come here. I'll
Yeah.
grab this sign for you. And this
Okay.
This is what the whole COVID response was based off of. And you heard a lot of things, a lot of stuff going around, a lot of fear being displayed. But we had this up, the whole COVID response. And it says, hope is greater than fear. When we can give somebody hope
Come on now, preach.
today, hope for the second, hope for their life through relationship with Christ, then man, the Bible says that perfect love casts out all fear. Right?
Come on.
Perfect love in Christ that we can share with them. That your students are sharing with these kids today, with their families today. Tomorrow, going out sharing food. We went to Davenport Salvation Army on yesterday, helping out that corps there. We're giving people hope. We're not dishing out just food. We're dishing out hope, and we're dishing out love and compassion. My session name was Messenger of Compassion, so I dubbed the team here Honorary Messengers of Compassion for the week with Salvation Army. So hope is greater than fear, and thank you for sending your kids on this trip. Thank you for sending your team on this trip to dish out some hope this week. Thank you guys very much. It's been awesome.
So that's just a little bit of history of the Salvation Army, a little bit of insight of what's happening here at Muscatine. And it's just such an honor and a privilege to be here serving with you. And man, we want to thank all of you who helped send send our students on this trip. And this has just been such a meaningful and impactful thing. So we got a train rolling through town. I'm sure you can hear that right now. So we're gonna wrap it up because it's probably just gonna get louder. Remember, we're on the other side of the tracks. So we got a lot of trains rolling through. So hey, thanks so much.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much for letting us be your hands extended, representing Faith Alive Church so well. You'd be so proud of the students working here. And man, it's just such an honor to be here working with you and everything that you're doing here in this community.
It's an honor to have you guys here. Yeah. One of the hashtags we used was, so doing the most good's our big slogan, or fight for good is a slogan to join the fight for good, but sometimes you can fight for good to do the most good, but sometimes you need help in keeping the good going.
Oh yeah, keep
and you
the
guys
good going.
have done us very well. We're honored to have you guys with us, helping to join the fight for good and to keep good going.
Cool. Yeah, for sure. All right, guys. Well, that is it from Iowa. We'll see you next week, back to our normal live shows where we're excited to get back into some routine and bring back some experiences to share with you. So
I'm going to tune in.
Yeah, do it. Yeah, it's going to be good. So take care, guys. Have an amazing week. Peace out.
Peace.